Welcome to the Antisocial Raider, where all we doing is talking football. And today, I got another one like the other one, man. Today we talking about Kyle Lewis, linebacker out of PITT, standing at 6 feet tall, weighing 220 pounds. Now, before we get started, this is a small channel. This is a new channel. So if you want to support, go ahead and hit that subscribe. If you like the video, then go ahead and hit that thumbs up. And if you got something to say, go ahead and drop a comment, man. So a few months ago, I put on a tape on Kyle Lewis, and I had it on for about 30 seconds, maybe a minute at the most, and then I turned it off. To say the least, I wasn't impressed. I didn't know what the hype was about, and I didn't look at nothing else until now, right? Until most recently, I kept seeing his name pop up, this and that, so I said, you know what, let me go back and check it out. And everything that everybody was talking about, everything that I heard, I seen it the second time around, right? I seen the athleticism, I seen the instincts, I seen the cover skills, I seen the pass rushing ability, and I started to ask myself, like, why is it a total difference from the first time to the second time, right? So I just say, you know what, I'm gonna go to sleep. I wake up in the morning and I'm gonna check it out again. And I did that. And it was the same thing from the first time. And I'm like, I just don't know what it is. Like, why is it, one time I see something and then the next time I see nothing, right? As a linebacker, and mind you, he did line up in the slot, right? He played a lot of snaps in the slot, but college is different from the NFL, right? So because they did list him as a linebacker, so let's just talk about linebacker right now. For the Raiders, the linebacker positions are set. We do not need linebackers, but we do need depth, right? Now, considering the linebackers they got, considering their skill set, considering the new scheme, or I should say the new personnel, right? Because 3-4 is really just personnel. But if you're using 4 linebackers, then you're gonna ask your linebackers to do a lot, and Kyle Lewis fits into that, right? He can do a lot of different things, but is he a true linebacker? Now, I don't think in a 3-4 defense you need a true linebacker, but you can also use sort of those hybrid linebackers like Kyle Lewis. Now, his strengths as a linebacker would be his cover skills. It would be his pass rushing ability. His athleticism is a strength. So his run defense, I'm not gonna put that as a strength, right? I'll put that as a weakness. Also, another weakness would be the lack of size, right? He is undersized, 6 feet, 220. Now, if he is drafted as a linebacker, I would want him to put on weight, right? Now, I'm not going to ask him. Like I said, the Raiders have linebackers, so you're going to have time to put on weight. You're going to have time to adjust to that weight, right? You don't want to pack it all on at once. You want to put a little bit on. You want to get used to the weight, and then put some more on, get used to it, and so forth, right? So if you draft him, which I have a day 3 grade on him, right? You're outside of the top 100. You're a special teams guy, which he could play special teams right away, and that's a plus. But if I'm drafting Kyle Lewis, I'm not gonna ask him to come in right away and contribute. I'm gonna ask him to get used to the defense. I'm gonna ask him to get used to his role, because Kyle Lewis is a scheme fit type of player. You can't just say, okay, we're going to draft him and we're going to use him as a traditional linebacker, right? Because you're going to ruin his career, and he's not going to help your team at all. Have him come in, boom, special teams guy, put on weight, and then slowly but surely figure out his role, right? Now, the way that he fits into the Raiders defense, you can use him the same way that PITT used him, right? Sort of as that hybrid, that tweener, right? That, you can have him line up at linebacker and play linebacker, and if he does play linebacker, he's not going to play middle linebacker. Like, if I'm not mistaken, he played middle linebacker at PITT. He's going to be more so a weak side linebacker. Now, you could have him do that. You can have him rush the passer. You could have him drop back in coverage from the linebacker position. And then you could also have him line up as a big nickel, right? You could have him line up as a linebacker and then post snap drop back into a nickel. Like you could move him around, use him like that. I think that his versatility adds a dynamic that the Raiders defense is sort of looking for. If you do see him as a 3-down nickel, then I honestly don't think that he's going to be. I think he fits more as a strong safety than a big nickel. I don't put him in the same tier as Derwin James. I don't put him in the same tier as Minkah Fitzpatrick. And those are safeties turned nickel, and that's why it worked so well for them, right? Because they already had the footwork of a defensive back. In the NFL, when you go from college to the league, it's easy to transition from a defensive back to a linebacker because the footwork that you use as a DB, you can use it as a linebacker, right? You play on your toes a lot as a defensive back because it's easier for you to go forward, to go backward, to go sideways, left, right, forward, backwards. It's easy when you're on your toes, right? As a linebacker, you're coached to be flat-footed because you have to play from sideline to sideline, right? And so that's why from college going into the league, to be a linebacker and then switch to defensive back, it's probably not going to work. And I'm not saying you can't practice, you can't get the footwork down, but to grow up playing linebacker, and I'm pretty sure he played linebacker in high school, that's a lot of time that you're practicing footwork. That's a lot of time that you're drilling into your head, the footwork, the technique, things like that. He's great in coverage as a linebacker. He's not really great in coverage as a DB right now. His strengths as a cover guy, I think he's more of a zone cover guy. It seems like it's easier for him to use his instincts when he's able to read. When he's in man coverage and he has to follow some guy hip to hip, it seems like he doesn't use his instincts as well. Now, attacking the ball, that's different, right? He attacks the ball, he does all that, right? But in between time, it seems like he's reacting more than anticipating, and that's very different from when he's in zone, right? He does have like minor bad habits in man to where he's not reading what the receiver's doing and then trying to figure out what route he's running. He's more so, he's in man. He's running with the receiver, but he's looking at the quarterback to say, okay, is he throwing a short route? And then once he sees it's not a short route, then he turns and runs. So it's not like he's reacting in man rather than anticipating, which is way different than when he's in zone. When he's in zone, he's playing back from everybody. He's looking around. He can read, and then he can anticipate and then drive down on the route, attack the ball. So if you are a team that's looking for a hybrid linebacker, somebody that can, line up as a linebacker and transition to a slot corner, somebody that you're looking for to rush the passer from off the ball, then he's your guy, right? But he's not a day one starter. He's somebody that, is a project for 2-3 years, somebody that, can instantly help on special teams. You have to have a plan for him to put on weight. He needs to put on weight. There's no way that now you can have him like a box safety at 220. I believe, the Raiders wanted to do that with Isaiah Pulamau a few years ago. I seen reports come out during training camp like, oh, Isaiah Pulamau put on weight, he's 220, this and that, and then I see him and he doesn't look 220, right? But he can fit that sort of role too as a box safety. It's box safety and nickel, they're sort of the same thing, right? Those are like blended, right? Big nickel, box safety, and linebacker, hybrid linebacker. So Kyle Lewis, man, I mean, his tape is iffy. Sometimes I see good, sometimes I see bad. Day three grade, I would personally take a risk, take a chance on him, but that has to be in the fifth, bro. I don't even know the way that the roster is right now. I don't know if I'm comfortable enough to take him in the fourth, right? Kyle Lewis for me is more so if I miss out on Harold Perkins, then I'm gonna take Kyle Lewis. Maybe with 175. I'm not too sure about 134. I believe 134, 137. But yeah, man, worth the risk depending on the price, man. Kyle Lewis, linebacker at the Pitt, 6 foot 220, linebacker safety. I think he's a linebacker. Just put on weight, man. That's gonna do it for this one. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you were able to gain some perspective in some way, shape, or form. This is the Antisocial Raider. If you love football like I love football, man, go ahead and subscribe. If you like the content, then like the content. And if you got something you want to get off your chest, then drop a comment. Yeah.